Hi, I'm Sheri, and I'm the leading authority for teaching women how to use makeup with confidence, no matter what season of life they're in. And today I want to show you the 3 different types of powder, a face powder, that I use in my own makeup routine. Like, not all at once. I have a reason for each of these 3 powders. They all serve a different purpose for me. It's like when you are baking, right? You have different ingredients. You may use an all-purpose flour for one type of event. You may use a wheat flour for another thing that you are creating. You may use a self-rising flour for, again, another product that you are creating in the kitchen. Well, makeup is no different. We have different types of things available at our disposal to use in our own makeup routine. So I'm going to show you the 3 types of powder that I keep on hand and how I use them, why I use them, for what situation would they become handy, and why you may want to consider using them as well. If you're new to me, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button, and that way you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. But also, if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me on Facebook at Glam Lashes Galore and also on Instagram at Glam Lashes Galore. So hold on just a second and I will give you an insight into the 3 types of powders that I love to use. Now. So let me get started. I started using powder a long time ago, and I played around with it. One of the reasons I started using powder was for coverage, because my skin has so many blemishes, and that honestly is how I started using makeup. When I was 16, I was super self-conscious of my skin. My dad took me to a dermatologist who was really mean. Like, he was a guy, and he was really, really mean and shaming me for having bad skin. I mean, it was all what I was doing, right? It wasn't encouraging on how to feel better about myself as a teenager. It was just a horrible experience. And so rather than feeling good about the way I looked as a teenager, I used makeup to help cover up the way that I looked. Not cover it up, but I mean cover up my skin, cover up the things that made me embarrassed. When my friends saw me, or, the cute boy in high school, I was just so self-conscious of my skin. And so that's how I learned to cover so many imperfections that I have under my makeup. And helped me feel better about putting myself out there. I really learned how to do it in a way that made my skin look flawless. And for years, I have had people come up to me and stand next to me. I remember girlfriends would come up and evaluate my face and say, well, you have porcelain skin, you have flawless skin. I'm like, oh, girlfriend, no, I do not. I have so many things going on. And if you've ever seen my pictures that I share here at Glam Lashes Galore, you know, I don't have flawless skin. Powder is a great way to help me get through some of those things. And so the 3 powders I'm going to show you serve different purposes. The first reason I started using powder was to help give me a little bit extra coverage, because my foundation wasn't really working for me and I felt like I needed just another layer. Like, the foundation almost covered everything, but not quite enough. And so I started off, this is when I started making the switch from drugstore products to higher end, because I found when I went to a higher priced product, I had a higher level of product working for me, if that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, right? I can use an example from the Northeast. In the winter, if you put a windshield wiper fluid in your tank for your car, and it's really like the cheapy one that you get that's 99 cents at the gas station, you put it in, well, guess what? It may not work if the temperature drops below freezing, and now you're on a highway and semi-trucks are kicking up slush on your windshield and it's freezing to your windshield and you can't see. Well, if you'd bought the $5 or $8 or $10 product that works below freezing, yeah, maybe now it wouldn't be such a hazard. Maybe now you'd be able to see out your windshield. Same thing with, there's different qualities in foods. There's different qualities in, right? Name a product. Things that last longer, whether it's clothes or shoes or windshield wiper fluid. Makeup is the same way. And once I switched to a little bit higher quality, a little bit bigger price point, which wasn't easy for me, I had a huge difference in quality also. So the first thing I went with was, I don't even know if they still make this, Lancome is a dual finish powder. And I never would have tried it, except I worked in an office in Hollywood, California, and the girl who sat next to me had really struggled with a lot of skin issues, and she covered it up really well. And we got into a conversation, a private conversation about one time she said, you have to try this product. And so I did. And the thing that was interesting about it was that this product could be used two ways. It could be used as a dry powder, or you could take, this is my old one because I don't use it anymore, but it had a little sponge. This is old, so forgive me. I keep it for demonstration now only. But it had a little sponge, and you could either use it dry or you could moisten this and you could use it wet and apply it. And it gave me really good coverage. So one of the things that I went with was a type of, this is starting to break. You ever drop something? If you ever need to know how to fix a broken compact, I've done a video for that. Just let me know and I'd be happy to hook you up with a link. But a powder that is pressed, that is a higher quality, you can use with a sponge or you could use it with a brush, and it can give you an extra layer of coverage. So maybe you don't always need a full coverage foundation, right? Maybe there are cycles in your life when you find yourself more stressed or more breakouts, or you just need that little extra coverage. A pressed powder foundation is great for that. And there are several different brands that you can find. You just need to match your foundation or come close to it. If it's not exactly the same, I would recommend going just a tad lighter, because you can always adjust your complexion with a light dusting of a bronzer, and that will make up for something. If you go too dark though, it's hard to do that, right? It's hard to adjust to make it look natural if you go too dark. So if you have the choice and you can't decide, lighter is better, you know, as close as you can, but lighter is better. But a pressed foundation, a pressed powder is wonderful. And I often use a pressed powder when I feel like my skin just isn't really looking flawless. I fake it with a little bit of pressed powder. So that is one powder that I cannot live without. What kind of tool do I use with it? Again, you can use sponges, you can use beauty blender. I just like a smaller size fluffy brush like this. I can swirl in it, and then I could get it under my eyes, around my nose, you know, wherever. I can even get it in between my eyebrows if I need to. But it's a great way to give your skin a little refresh, especially if you have to touch up later in the day or you're going from daytime to nighttime makeup. It's a great way to get a fresh makeup look. And so I love that so much. Now here's another tip. I did a video here not that long ago. It's also on my YouTube channel, Sheri, Dyas, Mellott. And I did a video on how to cover up a scar with makeup, because I have some scarring around my eyebrow. When I need to put a little bit of concealer over it, when I need to cover it up, I love to take, I could either take the fluffy end or I could take the little tiny end, depending on, like if I'm going in between my brows or under an eyebrow or something, I use a setting powder. This I keep for just those very special times when I want to make sure nothing is going to move. And so if I'm covering up a scar, it's a great time to put my little brush in there, tap it off. And I love this because a lot of the setting powders have this little mesh thing in here so that you don't waste any, so that it lasts longer. And then now I have a couple blemishes that I'm covering up today. Maybe you can't see them, but I can just put a little tiny bit of that pressed powder, of that, not pressed powder, of that setting powder, and it's gonna keep it. It's also a great way for you to set a lipstick or a lip liner if you wanna do something like that. I don't use it for that, but I know a lot of women like it for that reason, and so it's a great tool to use. So that's my powder number 2 that I have to have handy. Again, I don't use all these at the same time. It's like when you're baking, you want, or cooking, you want the right spices, right? You want the right flours, the right sugar, white sugar, dark brown sugar, light brown sugar. Powder is the same way. It's just another item to make your own recipe of how you like to do your makeup work well for you. Now, I have to be honest and tell you, if I were on a deserted island, which an island sounds lovely right now, if you guys have warm weather, tell me your temperature, because it is so cold here. It's about 20 degrees and we've got like 8 inches of snow coming tonight into tomorrow. But if I were on a deserted island, there's one powder that I use every single day. Even if I'm not doing eye makeup, if I'm just doing foundation and mascara, which some days when I'm shoveling snow, that's what I do. I love this one. I have been using this one for about 30 years. I'm so thankful they still make it. I'll drop a link below when I'm done to show you where I get it. It comes in so many different shades, but I always get this in translucent. Now, sometimes it's hard to find, I'll be honest. I went for several years where I would buy it. I'd go home to Southern California, I'd visit my family, and I would buy like 4 or 5 of them at a store there and bring them home in my suitcase because I couldn't find them in Pennsylvania. Sometimes I can find them online now, and I'll show you where. This is translucent. I use translucent all the time. But I really like the translucent extra coverage, personally for me, because I'm still at the age of 55 struggling with those pesky breakouts. And the extra coverage just gives me a different look that I really like. It's translucent extra coverage, and it's just a different consistency that really, really works for my skin. You don't know which one you would like better, right? So the translucent is just an all-around, works for everyone, works for any skin tone. And here's the brush I use. Now, to be honest, I found this brush in a mall several years ago. I've taken really good care of it. I wash it very carefully. So it's lasted me probably 5 years. I got it at Claire's, at one of those little Claire's boutiques when I was taking my little girl there, and she was looking at jewelry. And this works really well, but I can lead you to a real good fluffy brush if you need one. This is great for putting it in here and just dusting it off. And after I do my foundation every day, I just dust all over, right? I don't get much fallout because I do tap it here first. If I need more, I can always go back in. But like one of these lasts me a long, long time. This is an excellent powder. And here's a tip for you. Whenever I travel, I have a kid away at Ohio University, or if I'm traveling to go see my family in California, always make sure to tape over this, because otherwise your bag gets thrown into the car and into the hotel room and into the airplane, and then powder is everywhere around here. So if you have that clear packing tape that you would use to, to wrap up a package to ship, put a little swatch over here, and it makes it wonderful for traveling, and then you don't get that mess everywhere. You could probably even do the same kind of thing with putting a little bit of like a saran wrap or a cellophane around here and try something like that. That would work. But this is one I cannot live without. I love it so much, and it is the one that I use every day. So what do you think? 3 different powders, 3 different ways to use them. You don't need to use them all. You don't need to have all of them. But if you're looking for different things that you want to change or adjust in your own makeup routine, in your own beauty process, these are 3 different things that might help you with any number of issues. If you have scars like I do that you want to cover up, I gave you a tip for doing that. If you need extra coverage, I gave you tips for that. And if you just want to use a light dusting of a translucent powder to set your makeup, I gave you tips for that as well. And which tools to use for each product, right? Because having the right tool makes it so much easier. If you found value in this video, I would be so honored if you would hit the subscribe button, and then you can be notified whenever I bring a new video here for you. And also, if you would like to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Glam Lashes Galore, and on Facebook, I'm also found at Glam Lashes Galore. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, and can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.